John Paul the Great said that we can only find ourselves in becoming a sincere gift of self. So what does that mean? That means that we are all called to love, to be a gift to every person we encounter. And we see this so clearly in marriage, this gift of self, this love, because even on your wedding day, on the altar, you make 4 promises. You say, I promise to love you freely, totally, faithfully, and fruitfully. These are actually the 4 marks of love. And they're actually the language of the body, especially in sex. Because what's neat is you make those promises on the altar to love each other freely, totally, faithfully, and fruitfully. And then when you consummate your marriage, you have sex, you're actually renewing your wedding vows. What? So Pope John Paul said every time a couple has sex outside of marriage, they're actually lying with their body because they never made those vows. Because the language of the body wants to give itself freely, totally, faithfully, and fruitfully. And so today we're actually going to talk about how pornography is a total perversion of those free, total, faithful, fruitful things that make love. So basically, when we look at pornography, is pornography free? No. When we look at pornography, we don't feel free. In fact, we feel more enslaved to sin. In marriage, when I make love to my husband, it's free. I'm not worried. I'm not worried about having a kid out of wedlock. I'm not worried about getting STDs. I'm not worried that I'm sinning. It's fully free. Like, this is something beautiful and good. But when we look at pornography, although it might feel good in the moment, we know that it's not freeing. In fact, a lot of people, pornography becomes a habit, and it can become even addicting. And you can't, your yes means nothing if you can't say no. And when you can't say no to something, that means it's a problem. That means it's an addiction. So pornography is not freeing. In fact, it makes us a slave to sin. So the next one is total. In marriage, we say, I promise to love you totally, all of you. I promise to love your heart, mind, body, and soul, everything. Well, in pornography, we're not loving anybody totally, and they're not loving us back. In fact, a priest friend I know, he said, the reason why pornography is so attractive is because there's no one there to reject us. Wow. I mean, in marriage, it's very vulnerable to be spiritually and physically naked in front of somebody. It's very vulnerable to say, love all of me, my brokenness, my goodness, all of these things. Well, in pornography, it's not a real relationship. There's no one to reject you. And so that it's not giving yourself totally to anybody. In fact, instead of being a gift, a total gift of self, pornography inverts it back in on yourself. And instead of being love, it's lust. As part of total and moving even into faithful is this idea that when we make love to our spouse in marriage, we're actually bonding ourselves to them. There's a chemical released called oxytocin that actually bonds you to a person. And with pornography, that chemical is actually also released, but it's bonding you to your laptop or your phone. And that's kind of weird. I mean, we're like, oh, pornography is natural, whatever. It's like, well, it's not natural to be bonded to your computer sexually. So, that's a perversion of total and faithful. Now, moving into faithful, when we make this promise to be faithful, we're saying, I'm not going to flirt with other people. I'm not going to cheat on you. I'm totally yours. When we look at pornography, there's hundreds of men and women that are there for us and going through our minds. I am so thankful my husband got rid of pornography a long time ago out of his life, and he let his memories be healed. And it's totally possible for our memories to be healed of those pornographic images. But I can't imagine having sex with my husband and all these other girls are going through his head. If someone asked me, and I've asked many girls, is pornography cheating? They're like, yes, because I want to be loved. I feel like if he has to go to pornography, then am I not good enough? Like it's not faithful. We are cheating. And so right now, God, if you are a guy or a girl watching this, you absolutely can start being faithful to your future spouse right now. Don't wait years to get rid of this. Like, root it out of your life now so you can start being faithful to your future vocation, whether you're called to be a celibate or you're called to be married. All right, so last one, free, total, faithful, fruitful. We make this promise to be fruitful spiritually and physically. Spiritual fruit means we are going to bear the fruits of the Spirit in our marriage. The fruits of the Spirit: peace, joy, patience, love, generosity, self-control, modesty, chastity, goodness. We are bearing those fruits. In marriage, you're also saying we're open to physical fruits, which are children, okay? But in pornography, the spiritual fruits that are born in pornography are not love and peace and joy. In fact, they're probably anxiety, shame, guilt. Those aren't the fruits of the Spirit. That's a fruit of evil. Like, the devil loves when you're ashamed. The devil loves when you're guilty. The devil loves when you're anxious or depressed. Like, the devil does not want you to be free and joyful and peaceful, because those are the fruits of the Spirit. So we know that while in the moment pornography, it may feel good, we know that afterwards it's like, we don't feel good, right? It does not feel great. So pornography is a perversion. It's the direct opposite. Instead of being love, which is a gift, love is free, total, faithful, fruitful. Pornography is lust. Instead of being a gift, it turns it back on itself, and it's all about me, the pleasure I can get. We see people now as objects for my pleasure, instead of in marriage and sex saying, I want to love you, I want the best for you, and I want to be a gift for you. So, my brothers and sisters, you are called to great love. You are called for so much more than lust. Don't settle. Don't settle for this lesser thing that the devil's like, I want you to lust. But God's like, dude, I want you to love authentically, freely, totally, faithfully, and fruitfully.